To be 100% honest with you guys, I didn't even know there was a Chainsaw Man chapter that came out yesterday. I thought we were still doing the bi-weekly thing. I didn't realize that it had come out. I don't know. I completely spaced on it because I just forgot about it. So then I went to read it today. I was super excited. I was like, oh, well, there's a Chainsaw Man chapter I missed yesterday. Let's check it out. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is only, what, 12 pages long? I'm like, is this the full chapter? Did it not get fully released? I even went to the official Shonen Jump website to check it out, and yeah, it's just an extremely short chapter. So then I'm thinking, okay, I'm a day late, and it's a really short chapter. Is it worth reviewing in the first place? And then I read it, and I do think that there is enough here to warrant some commentary. So if you're gonna go on the journey with me, let's talk about chapter 115 of Chainsaw Man, which of course is the last Chainsaw Man chapter of the year. I also remembered that if I judge this chapter on being short, then I'm just justifying everyone else that judges me upon being 5'5". And you know what? We're not going to do that here. We're going to accept everybody regardless of chapter length and find out that even though it's short, there is still some merit there every once in a while. The main thing is in the very beginning of this chapter, we basically find out that Haruka, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, is not posing himself as Chainsaw Man, which that's what it seemed like he was doing a few chapters ago when he was introduced and he lifted up his shirt. We saw the pull tab. We thought this guy is basically going around posing himself as Chainsaw Man. Also, the interesting faction that the pull tab looks exactly like the earrings that Famine is using. So there's the theory kind of going around that like that's the trigger point in order for Famine to gift somebody abilities. We didn't really see it with Yuko. But I mean, it could have been some sort of gift of the earring or something like that could have made that happen. And maybe she has one given to all of these Devil Hunter members of the club because she clearly is kind of working things behind the scenes. She's clearly sort of the Makima of that group, and so maybe it does have some significance because he says this is just an implant because he is the biggest Chainsaw Man fan, even though he came in second in the Chainsaw Man contest or whatever, probably second to Denji, which would be hilarious. Also equally hilarious that he has no idea whatsoever that he's here with Chainsaw Man or that this dork of Denji could possibly be this person he looks up to and admires. But the fact that he's willing to admit it, I think says a couple of things. Maybe that he wouldn't have admitted it if they weren't sitting here for multiple days, basically starving, basically, trapped for eternity, if they really are. So they're stuck in this little location. He kind of got to the point where everybody's kind of going mad in their own ways, in their own little personal hells, because when you're trapped, even though they're with other people, they're still trapped with themselves for this extended amount of time. And so when you're trapped with yourself, you see kind of all of your faults and all of your insecurities and stuff like that. And there's nothing to distract you from dealing with yourself. And I think that Chainsaw Man being a series that deals with that strange, teenage adolescence and being an outcast and being different from other people, I think that that's a running theme of the series. So it makes sense that now that they're all kind of reaching their breaking point, he just kind of admits, I'm not Chainsaw Man. I don't know where Chainsaw Man is. Please come save me. He's kind of screaming it out to the heavens. He's kind of lost it. Kobeni's brother, is that Kobeni's brother? I don't really know if that person is actually, basically Kobeni part 2 is like licking the glass. The other guy's just like doing some shadow boxing, good on him. And then there's this strange scene with Denji and Yoshida, and the dialogue was really interesting, but there wasn't any focus given on it. Basically, Yoshida is saying something along the lines of, we've kind of come to terms with our death. If we die in here, it's like, why can't... Well, first he asks why Denji can't just kill the Eternity Devil, and Denji says, well, last time it was attacking us. It was right there. I knew exactly where it was. I don't know where it is. And he's got no way to find it, which is true. And then Yoshida goes on to say, well, I guess we all kind of become content with our death eventually if we're stuck here. And then he looks to Denji and he gives him this really strange look and he says, would you be willing to do it, to eat the Death Devil? And I just thought this was really strange because it hasn't been brought up like this before. We don't know who the Death Devil is or where the Death Devil is. And also, what would it imply if Denji ate the Death Devil? Like, are we saying that if that happened, like death is no longer a concept, it's no longer a thing, people forget about it? Does that mean they forget about their fear of it, or does that literally mean like mass immortality? You know, like what does it mean if you relinquish the fear of death? Because it's the most primal, basic, ancient, probably original, core oriented fear of all of mankind. So what would that do? Would that essentially like be this catalyst to I don't know, cause this ripple effect for all other fears? I don't know. But it was just a strange thing for Yoshida to bring up, strange thing for him to say, and Denji doesn't really have a response to it. Probably doesn't know what he's talking about. And it adds in so many other questions about like who is Yoshida working for right now? What is their plan? What is their goal? Are they trying to draw out the Death Devil? Does this have something to do with him? Like, and if he is aware of who Famine is he also aware of who Death is? So it's like, how much does he actually know? How much is he willing to let on? And the fact that he would even say this, I mean, I guess saying it to somebody like Denji doesn't really matter because it's probably just going to go in one ear and out the other. He's just going to be like, I don't know, man. And then he kind of walks away, which he does. So it's either we didn't see Denji's response or Denji just walks away. Either way, kind of strange, not sure where that's going, not sure why he would bring that up. And I'm thinking about like the ramifications of what that would mean if he was consumed by the Chainsaw Devil. If death was consumed, if that's even possible, then what would happen to the world? And is that like a subtle hint of where we're heading with this storyline? Then we have this little moment between Asa and Denji, and I love Asa's character. I love every little bit that we get out of her from chapter to chapter, learning about her, and now she feels so useless because she broke the phone in the last chapter. She feels like she's part of the reason why they're trapped because she needs to make Denji into a weapon, and she doesn't want to. She doesn't know how to. Also, Yoru is nowhere to be found. She was taken away by Famine, so, you know, Asa is here left on her own. And her and Yoru, even though she wanted to get rid of the War Devil, they've been working in unison for quite some time, and they've kind of built up this relationship with each other that, you know, they keep each other in check in a way, and they have these mutual goals. But at the end of the day, I liked how it was presented here, where Asa was basically explaining that the reason she doesn't do it or wouldn't do it isn't because of any kind of moral standing that she has on her own, but the fact that she's constantly just trying not to do the wrong thing, as opposed to having this set of code and ethics or something like to go along the lines of, I'm trying to do the right thing, I'm trying to do good by other people, I'm trying to be an upstanding person, an upstanding citizen. Instead, a lot of her decisions are based upon fear, and based upon fear of making the wrong move or doing the wrong thing. And I think that this resonates with a lot of people because I think a lot of people are in a similar boat where it's the fear and the anxiety of being ostracized from the group, how she's bullied and picked on and called weird and pointed at, and she's the one that accidentally killed my boy Bucky, and then no one's ever looked at her the same way again. She's this kind of strange outcast person that she is, and so she's always kind of tiptoeing around what is acceptable and what is not in order to not make the wrong move, to not be even more ostracized from the group than she ever has been before. And I think that a lot of people live their lives that way. I think a lot of people live their lives in fear, or in fear of misstepping or making somebody angry or getting in an argument or saying the wrong thing. And because of that, they make all of their decisions based on the fear of repercussion rather than based on what they truly think and what they truly feel. And if that goes on long enough, you kind of lose a sense of who you are. Like, what do I believe in? What do I stand for? What am I willing to do in these situations? Like, I just like how it's drawing attention to that, and we don't have a lot of protagonists that are like that. And I would say, you know, Asa is the protagonist of Chainsaw Man Part 2. I would consider Denji a supporting character at this point, at least at this point in the story. And we don't really get that a lot. And I like the kind of honest look at it in a series that's so batshit crazy all the time, with nonstop just hilarity and death and just everything else that happens in Chainsaw Man. I really like that focus. And then Denji kind of coming over to comfort her, even though he doesn't really hear anything she actually says, but she's like, I can't eat fish. I don't want to starve. I can't eat fish. And so he picks up a starfish and he's like, how about you eat a starfish? And he's doing it kind of like tongue in cheek, kind of like a joke. But at the same time, it's not a joke because starfish are actually sea urchins, I believe. Did I pronounce that right? I don't know. But they're not actually fish. So Denji is not wrong. Also, I think it's a cute little callback because Asa, gave him all of this information on marine biology and how it all works and stuff like that. So the fact that Denji, of all people, would pull up a starfish and be like, starfish aren't actually fish, it's a way to relate to Asa on that level. The only way that she feels like she could relate is just to like give him this exposition dump and be like, isn't it cool that I know all these things, even though Denji doesn't really give a shit. But now bringing it back to kind of like try to not win over Asa, but just make her feel better, or make the situation a little lighter. He basically is using the same way that she communicates back to her. So really, I honestly think that this chapter is pretty great. I think it's a pretty great character development chapter. And what I always say on this channel is that I am a character over story kind of person. I love good stories, good plot twists and turns, suspense, all that stuff. But the thing that makes me care about it is caring about the characters that are involved. I love bottle episodes, like Breaking Bad's The Fly, and you can consider this like a bottle episode of Chainsaw Man where it all takes place in one location. We don't cut away. The characters are trapped here. We're forced to hang out and be with the characters. And that's what this chapter was. And I love all these characters. Well, most of it. I love Asa and Denji. That's pretty much it. But I love them in this situation. So you know what? I got to say that I like this chapter despite its length, man. And I guess that's just how it is in the world. Sometimes if you give shorter length things a chance, you might find out that you like them, ladies. Just keep that in mind. And real quick, I just want to throw a shout out to my Patreon supporter and good friend Adam Jinrakai and his YouTube channel, which is called Adam Jinrakai. A lot of people keep wanting me to get into One Piece and make some One Piece analysis, and I haven't quite gotten there yet. But if you want some in-depth, good reviews of One Piece from a fan that actually knows what he's talking about, I would recommend subscribing to Adam's channel. He also does reviews on Berserk and a few other things. Let's try to get him to 1,000 subscribers if we can. Go on over, tell him Ryan sent you, leave him a comment, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Once again, that's Adam Jinrakai, and that will be linked down in the description below. Go over and give him a view. Anyways, let me know what you think about Chainsaw Man Chapter 115 down below in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, theories, opinions moving forward. What did you think about Yoshida's comment of the Death Devil, Asa's character development, Denji's knowledge of Starfish? I was going to say something stupid. I was going to make a stupid butt joke out of Starfish, but let's not do that. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Love you guys.